Well, this is the first, hopefully, of 3 podcasts this week. God, I better find some good, decent stories to talk to and try and keep these people entertained. Doing 2 podcasts a week is good enough, but 3? Can you stick with me that long? Hope so. Welcome back, guys, to another week here on the Moor Army podcast. Hello. What a last few days it has been. On record, guys, I just want to start today's podcast with an apology. First of all, hope you're all doing well out there, by the way. Thanks for tuning in once again for another week of it. I want to apologise. Just wanted to start today's podcast with an apology. And people were saying over the weekend, you shouldn't be apologising because obviously you've been too busy, but I just like to keep my audience updated. But anyway, yes, hello. Just want to start this week's episode. Well, the first one, hopefully, I'm hoping this week I can get 3 podcasts recorded this week to make up for last Thursday's podcast being not available. So yes, I'm going to start today by saying I apologise for no podcast last Thursday because everything has just been so chaotic since, I would say, November, October. Everything's just been absolutely chaotic. And again, last Thursday was one of those days as well. So apologies for no Unleashed podcast last Thursday, which a lot of you out there do listen to. So I'm hoping to do 2 Unleashed podcasts this week. So please bear with me. Anyway, hello. I'm a little bit upbeat today after the wonderful weekend that I had. I had an absolutely amazing weekend. First of all the messages I received used over the weekend was just phenomenal. I met a lot more viewers over the weekend, which was even better. Lewis and I had an amazing weekend of football. Unfortunately, Liverpool got duffed at the weekend, but we'll say no more about that. They got tanked 3-0 by Wolves. Man City got beat. And Man City are in the news for a little bit of corruption as well, possibly. It's just been one of those weekends where it's like, wow, it's been great, but also been, well, I'm not letting the Liverpool result damper the weekend that I had. But anyway, yes, before we continue on with the podcast today, a big thanks to everybody who has been tuning in over the last couple of weeks. I was just getting the statistics through the other day from Spotify and Apple Music and stuff, and the streams and downloads that we were getting on there is absolutely phenomenal. Now, the YouTube channel itself, for the listens is a woke average, which isn't okay. Well, obviously it's only started out, so it's going to take a while to build. But because of the popularity of Spotify and Apple Music, it's just great. All those downloads and streams, guys. Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it. We're still trying to work on here, trying to get us on the iHeartRadio. I have submitted the bits and bobs to them over the past, since last Tuesday's podcast. All the information has been submitted, so we're just waiting for an all clear to get on to iHeartRadio, which will then put us on TuneIn Radio as well. So we're trying to get ourselves onto there too as well. So hopefully it'll be ASAP. So yes, thank you for all your streams and downloads and whatever else over the past week or so, over the last lot of months since I've been doing this podcast. It's been unbelievable. Just checking the stats again the other day and I couldn't believe it. So thank you very much for all that. The Unleashed podcast seems to be the more popular one because I can obviously say whatever I want on it. Be obviously a bit more me, where I can swear more and say whatever I want and say how I feel about certain individuals or certain subjects that's going on in the world. But hey ho. But before we go anywhere in the podcast today, guys, once again I would like to welcome you to the show. I want to obviously give you a big shout out first of all to Glenavon Football Club, who were amazing this past weekend with Lewis and I's trip to Lurgan, Mournview Park for the first time ever. Big shout out to Glenavon for all their hospitality. But before I go anywhere into that conversation, I just want to give out the usual plugs here on the Moor Army podcast. So if you're new to the podcast here for the first time, hello, welcome back to the podcast, welcome to the podcast. Regular listeners, welcome back. If you want to get in touch with us here at the Moore Army Podcast, you can by the following methods. You can contact us by email. So if you have any questions or any subjects you'd like to hear me talk about or anything at all you'd like to send me questions about or whatever, it's moorearmypodcast@yahoo.com. Also, you can contact us on the good old trusty social media, which we're not on Twitter, by the way, because I refuse to go onto that platform, as my regular listeners know. Twitter is full of nutcases, as I always say. It's not a very nice platform. It's not because I can't take criticism, it's just the fact that it's a crazy platform and there's people on there who are just insane and need locked up in a padded room, but we'll say no more about that. Instagram. You can contact me on Instagram, first of all, official Matthew Moore, which a lot of you do, contact me on there. And Facebook, which is the Facebook fan page, which is Moore Army YouTube channel on Facebook. Please drop a like on that page. A lot more people are following than they're actually liking the page. Don't click the follow button, plus click the like button, like button too. And if you want to go onto our website and get all your merch, check out all the bits and bobs, which has had a bit of a renovation there recently, but we're still trying to get more merch added onto it as well, hopefully this week, which we have altered the merch around and obviously give the website a bit of a facelift, but we're still adding more to it, which is the main hub for the Moore Army, which is moorearmy.co.uk. It's moorearmy.co.uk for all your merchandise and much more. In fact, I was sent a few samples there on Sunday of new Moore Army podcast merchandise, which looks amazing. New hoodies, t-shirts. We got new stuff coming in for more of the warmer weather coming in the summer. I've asked the guys who do the merch for me as well to see if I can get some Moore Army shorts, socks, tracksuit bottoms, you name it, because a lot of people like wearing the old, as the Americans like to call them, sweatpants. So I'm trying to get some Moore Army podcast merchandise more done for the summer. Plus we're throwing a few designs around for the summer gear this year as well, because the last year's summer gear sold quite well. Summer 2022 t-shirts sold really, really good. But anyway, it's moorearmy.co.uk, guys. But anyway, yes, moving on. What a weekend. What a last few days. First of all, again, as I said at the start of this podcast, it's been so hectic. I published a vlog from the weekend there late last night, early this morning, because I haven't stopped. And hopefully this is now the end of it. As I said in the end of that vlog, I'm going to check it out, guys. What a vlog I put out there on the Moore Army YouTube channel, where there's a nice trip to Lurgan this past weekend. We travelled for my first time being 12 plus years, nearly 13 years in the Irish League, I've never been to Mourneview Park, which is the home of Glenavon Football Club. Never been there in my life. And I went there this past Saturday with the Welders in the Irish Cup 6th round. And people who are obviously listening to this podcast want to listen to more subjects I'm talking about, but obviously I want to tell you about my weekend, obviously, because I'm involved in football and stuff here in Northern Ireland. But wow, I mean, what a day. We started off at our social club in Belfast. They put on a bit of a breakfast for the boys. The club asked me, the management team asked me to put together like a motivational video for the guys where, from whenever the new management had come in there in end of September right up until now. We named the motivational video "The Fight Back Begins." Because obviously when the new guys took over, the team was near bottom of the league. 4 points out of the first 7 games. They couldn't score for their love or money. They were playing not great football. And the new management has come in and completely revamped it. And they're now on a roll at the minute. They've won their last 9 games out of 11 in all competitions, which is amazing. But they're playing some really good football too. But anyway, yes. They asked me to put together a motivational video, which I did do. And it got a great response. So thanks to all the players for the kind feedback on the video. I appreciate it. Means a lot. The management staff, the committee, all were like really, really overjoyed with the video. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Then we left there, headed down the road. But in recent weeks, guys, I've mentioned here on the podcast, Lewis and I are obviously, Lewis does photography, loves doing his photography. It's a wee hobby of his, and his photographs are getting all over the place now. And obviously I do the TV and whatever else, and I interview the manager every week and do all different things. But in the last lot of weeks, Lewis and I have been doing together as a whole a thing called Inside Match Day. And there's a lot of bigger clubs do it as well, but I used to do it years ago at Bangor, but obviously very restricted to what I could do because there was only one man cameraman. But because Lewis is sitting pit side, he can grab some clips as well as take his pictures too, because of where he sits. So we've came to an idea where we're going to start doing these inside match day videos where you see behind the scenes on a match day in our new stadium, where you can see all the behind the scenes and the build up to the game, a pitch side view of all the action, the goals and everything else. And we put it together every week. It's like a little mini movie sort of montage thing, sort of 3 to 5 minutes long every week. And it's got a really great response so far. People on social media are loving it. And we've done one for the last couple of games there. And the one we put out there this past weekend, the Welders are into the quarterfinal of the Irish Cup. And it was an unbelievable day. What a day to do an inside match day video. It's got a great response on YouTube. It's got a great response on Facebook. Big response all over all social media platforms. People are talking about it on Twitter. People are talking about it everywhere. I've had multiple messages from different people saying that they love it, and I shared it in my vlog yesterday, the recent one from the Irish Cup game. Guys, go and check it out when you get a chance. Honestly, the footage that we've captured over the last couple of weeks has been unreal. It's motivating the players, it's motivating the fans, the board, the committee, everybody behind it, do with the club. It's like giving the club a wee bit of a lift because they're seeing a different side of the club. You know, and there's more sponsors wanting to come on board now too as well, so I've been told, and it's just a whole big work in progress, and it's coming along rightly, and people are loving it. And, you know, when I went down there on Saturday, I spoke to a few people who said they've been watching the recent ones in the Ballyclare game, the Dergview game, etc., the under-21s game, we done one as well, and they absolutely love them. Plus they get to see the match highlights on a different video, and interviews and much more. So we're going to try and do more as well for the club as well. So Lewis and I, every week together as a father and son, put these wee videos out every week, and they're getting a massive response. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everybody for responding to those. So if you haven't checked it out in my vlog, go and check it out. It's on the previous video, guy. Go and check it out. It is there available to watch. So anyway, going back to the day itself, big thanks to Glenavon for the hospitality this past weekend. Another Premiership side we've beaten in the Irish Cup. We're into the quarterfinals and play against, I like to call them the millionaire boys now, Larne, which I'm looking forward to seeing. I haven't seen boys from Larne for a while. We've got a home draw, which is hopefully going to bring a big crowd for the club. A big day, a big gate, big payday for the club, a massive day for the club. And the fact that we're at home, you never know, guys. It's like the FA Cup in England or the Carabao Cup. You never know. I know Larne are up at the top of the table in the Premiership, and they've got all these big name players, and they've got a good bit of financial backing behind them, and like themselves, they've pretty much got a new ground. They've reinvented it in Inver Park, their home. But guys, the Irish Cup, you never know. And I said to Lewis the other day, if we beat Larne, it would be an unbelievable achievement. Like this past Saturday was one of the biggest days in the club's history, and to get where we're getting now, I mean, smaller clubs have got the semi-finals and finals before, so you never know. But anyway, yes, it was a great day. We had a fantastic day with the boys. Lewis and I had a brilliant time. Watch that video, guys, you'll see. Lewis is on the pitch at the end hugging players, and it's just amazing. What a day. Go and check it out. It was an amazing weekend. We had an absolute ball this past weekend in Lurgan. And what a way for my first experience at Mourneview Park, which is a great stadium, by the way, I must add. And I met a lot of supporters too who were lovely people, so thanks for all your hospitality. I spoke to the chairman quite a bit too as well. But yeah, it was a great day. Go and check out the video, guys, on our channel of our experience that day, because it was a wonderful day. Even if you're not a football fan, go and check it out and let me know what you think. It was a really cool day. So it was. So I'm really pleased, and we had an absolute ball. So can't complain. But anyway, yes, moving on. What have I got to talk about today here on the podcast? Gee whiz, I got quite a few things I want to talk about today, actually. I've actually got some things written down here. Some sad news coming out of Turkey the last few days. Did you see what's been happening in Turkey the last couple of days? About this earthquake thing? I seen a video on, was it Instagram? Of a building collapsing in the middle of the street and all the people around it and stuff. Absolutely insane. Should I even talk about this? Manchester City are in the crap. They're all over the news at the minute in relation to financial fair play rule. Is Man City cheating? A lot of people are talking over the last couple of days about Manchester City. They're in the news about what's going on with what is going on with City. Are they in big trouble? people are saying that they're in the lot. That's a whole big kerfuffle. I'll talk about that shortly as well. I'm going to answer some of your questions today here on the podcast as well, because a lot of you have been asking me questions over the weekend, and I got a couple of other things I want to bring up too as well here on the podcast. So it's going to try and keep you entertained as much as I can for the next lot of minutes. So if you're still tuned in right now and you haven't tuned out, then thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. Big shout out, by the way, to my good friends at the ASAP podcast, or the ASAP podcast. The boys who I was on their podcast this past weekend, they're coming back. They had a wee bit of a break there for a while, guys. When I go and check them out on Spotify as well. The ASAP podcast, they're here from Northern Ireland. Good lads. So they are. Very, very, very good lads. They had me on the podcast, when was it? Last March, I think it was. Not March, sorry. August. Was it August, I think it was in their podcast? Adam and Sean. Great lads. The podcast we were on was so funny. We recorded it in a hotel, and then we ended up hitting the town. You'll see it in my vlog as well. We had a great night out, so we did. So big shout out to those guys as well. So yeah, they're coming back after a wee short break there. The ASAP podcast, they're called, guys from Northern Ireland. Please be warned, if you're easily offended, there is a lot of strong language in it. You think my podcasts are bad with strong language on the unleashed version, then you gotta cover your ears with these boys here if you're easily offended. But they are great lads, and I'm looking forward to seeing them down the road very, very soon, even though I was in their neck of the woods there at the weekend, but unfortunately didn't get a chance to see them. But yeah, ASAP podcast, they are a good bunch of lads. Okay, I just want to talk about, first of all, guys, in the podcast today, the situation that's going on in Turkey at the minute. I mean, it's absolutely horrendous. For the last time I was reading this morning, there before I hit record this morning, I was reading about the earthquake that unfortunately happened there over the last few days. It's been happening in southern Turkey and northern Syria. The earthquake apparently has killed over more than 5,000 people, which is just horrible, horrible thing to see. The rescuers are currently, at the moment, as I was reading this morning, we're racing to save more people that were trapped amongst rubble after thousands of buildings have collapsed in both countries. I seen it, as I said to the other guys a minute ago, I seen a recent video there of a big giant, like, I don't know what's either a apartment block with businesses underneath all collapsing. This thing here was actually put down as a 7.8 magnitude, which is just insane. It hit around about 1:30 in the afternoon from what I was reading, which is 10:30 in our time in the morning. It was just insane. I've saw a few videos, but that big one I saw, I don't know why, was it Instagram or TikTok or something I saw it on. And for what I was reading today as well, there has been obviously 3,000 killed in Turkey, over 3,000 killed, and more than 15,000 people have been injured, which is insane. And in Syria, over 1,600 people have died, which gives it a total of over 5,000. But it's great to see, for what I was reading this morning as well, countries like the United States and South Korea are obviously sending aid. Because Turkey have issued an international plea of call of help to help assist with the country. I mean, guys, for what I was reading through some of the stories this morning before I pushed record here in the podcast, it's just, wow. I mean, some of the pictures that I saw, videos of buildings collapsing, I think over 5,000 people have lost their lives, 15,000 injured. It is absolutely insane. I'm obviously going to keep an eye on this story over the next few days and try and fill these guys in. If you don't know about that, then obviously go and have a look at the news. It's just, I just woke up this morning and I didn't even know why I was going to talk about it on the podcast today, but I just looked at it and thought, something I'm going to and get my thoughts on it. It's just a terrible thing to see, and just a massive earthquake as well. And again, like, so many people have lost their lives, and obviously the injured. I hope the injured all make a full recovery. I'm obviously, I send my condolences and thoughts and prayers to the families of over the 5,000 people who unfortunately have lost their lives, which is just a terrible, terrible thing to see. I've just been reading some of the articles on newspaper websites and news websites and everything else, and social media too. It's just, it's heartbreaking to watch. It's heartbreaking to see. It's heartbreaking to read, and it is a major, major situation going on at the moment. And again, from everybody here in the Moore Army and the Moore family, obviously we send our thoughts and prayers to everyone in Turkey and Syria at the moment, because it's just, oh, guys, seriously, if you haven't read any of the articles, please read them. And it's heartbreaking to see all those people who've unfortunately lost their lives, which is so sad. So it is, it really, really is sad. So thoughts and prayers go out to the families of the deceased and the injured people out there in both countries. Obviously, we send our thoughts and prayers to you as well. Hope you make a speedy recovery from your injuries in that earthquake in Turkey and Syria, which is, it's just so sad to see, guys. It really, really is. Right, let's move on to another thing here. We'll talk about Manchester City in just a minute. We'll obviously go back to football, but I've talked about this guy a couple of times in the podcast, and it's really, really, really doing my loaf in. So what is this guy, Andrew Tate? Like, I got up this morning and obviously got Brick and Lewis off to school, done what I had to get done this morning on my laptop, answering emails, etc., etc. Poured myself a morning coffee this morning and thought, right, let's go and get a couple of news articles for today's podcast. Let's get on with it and get the podcast recorded shortly. So I thought, right, and what's the first thing that pops up on my laptop? That friggin' balloonhead Andrew Tate. As you all know, I've talked about it before, he's in jail for all those things that he's done, apparently, blah, blah, blah. He's held in custody for so many weeks or whatever it is. I've talked about that before, but apparently the story reads this morning that apparently he has updated his will from prison, saying that he is not going to kill himself. Anything to make more gossip and headline stories and everything else, to make everything all about him. I've had a lot of you contacting me since I talked about this a few weeks ago on the podcast. Some of you actually say you like him. That's your choice. Some of you say that you don't like him. Some of you say that he's a complete balloonhead, which I think he is personally a balloonhead. People who think the world's spinning around him irritates me. Yeah, I didn't want to really talk about much more about him, but just when I saw this morning, it was like, really? Like, seriously, what is this guy, like, playing at? The story that I read this morning was on GB News' website. I've got it here in front of on my laptop here in front of me. It says, Andrew Tate and his brother have been held in custody in Romania since December, as we all know. Andrew Tate claims that he's updated his will and says, and I quote, saying in it, and I quote, I would never kill myself, in a series of disturbing tweets from Romanian prison. So obviously he's telling people, we talked about this before, he must be telling people to tweet out stuff from his social media, because obviously he's no access to stuff in there because he's held in jail. Unless it's one of those jails where it's like basically a holiday camp. So anything to draw attention to himself, anything to make the headlines, Mr. Tate. People like you, I do not like. And I think you're a fool. But that's just me. Speaking of fools, Jake Paul, the beloved brother of, should we say, podcaster, YouTuber, the part owner of that drink that's driving me up the bloody walls, Prime, part-time WWE wrestler, entrepreneur, and what else could we call him? I don't know. His brother Jake, who is claiming to be this big tough guy boxer who's got a fight coming up soon with Tommy Fury. I think it's this weekend. Actually, is the boxing match this weekend? I think it is this weekend or next weekend. I can't even remember. 3 weeks time, February 26th. These two are going to be fighting. And Jake Paul is fighting this guy, Tommy Fury. And Tommy Fury has now come out and said in an open statement today, which is funny, Jake Paul will be leaving our fight in an ambulance. Now, I'm going to be honest with you about the Paul brothers. I wasn't overly a big fan of them before they get into all that crap with that whole thing in Japan about the suicide forest and all that jazz, because I personally think that was disgusting. Now, Logan's obviously done a lot of growing up recently. He's obviously became more of a businessman, and he's obviously doing very well for himself with his Impulsive podcast. He's obviously working for WWE, the Prime drink that he's made, which is going insanely worldwide. And before I say more about that there, anybody out there who listens to this podcast and is paying any more over what the price should be for that prime drink need to have their head looked at. People who are out there paying stupid money for a drink, and people who are putting stuff on social media selling these bottles of drink for stupid money, and people are paying it to please their children or please themselves. It's a flippin' drink. Really? Wind your neck in. Seriously? It's just ridiculous. Even KSI, the guy who he works alongside, has even come on to British television, online as well, and social media, and has said, stop doing it. Stop buying these drinks for stupid money. So, there you go. Anyway, yes, Logan's doing quite well for himself. He's put on quite a few good performances recently in WWE, especially at the Royal Rumble there this past weekend. His podcast is actually not bad. I've actually watched a couple of episodes of it, and it isn't actually too bad. Logan's matured a lot over the last wee while since he made that stupid mistake in that forest. But his brother Jake's a bit of a, and I'll be honest with you here, his brother Jake's a bit of a jackass, to be honest. I get asked all the time, do you watch the Paul brothers? Do you watch Roman Atwood? Do you watch this guy? Do you watch Sidemen, Mr. Beast? Do you watch all these guys? I've only ever watched Sidemen once or twice. Mr. Beast, I don't watch. Lewis watches Mr. Beast. I don't watch him. I've heard about him. I watched his interview with Logan Paul. I watch the Impulsive podcast on YouTube once in a blue moon. I don't get much time to watch these guys, but for what I know of them, Jake Paul, his last boxing fight, Lewis and I sat up and watched it live, and it wasn't that great, to be quite honest. But as you all know, Logan Paul had a boxing match with Floyd Mayweather and done actually okay. But the Paul brothers are successful. They're well known around the world because of YouTube, etc., etc. Would I like to have their money? Silly question, of course I would. Would I like to have their fame? I was asked that question one time by a young viewer. I met him one time. I can't remember where it was, but he said, would you like to be as big, as famous as Roman Atwood and Logan Paul and all them boys? Listen, I make videos. If we get successful, that's fine. I just keep grinding away and making those videos to try and have a bit of fun, and I enjoy doing it. It's a hobby. If we make big money off it, that's fine. We do make good money off YouTube. We do okay. We're not obviously millionaires or anything like that, but it's enough to get by, and we do okay, and it's fun, and we meet new people, etc., etc. But if I was to wake up tomorrow and have 10 million subscribers on YouTube and everything else, would I reap the rewards? Yeah, of course, anybody would, but enjoy the money and enjoy the success. Would it change me as a person? No, definitely not. It'd still be the same. Spend money when only I need to. I wouldn't go all lavish out and go mad, and like some people do when they become millionaires or whatever, like go out and buy flashy cars and big houses and all that jazz. I obviously would buy a dream car of mine, which is not one of those big giant £200,000 cars. I would buy a nice house somewhere to set my kids up for life. Buy them both a home when they get older too, and I wouldn't go mad. That's just me being honest with you guys. I wouldn't go mad because I'm just a straight normal guy who, okay, wouldn't say no to some nice fancy things in his life, but no, that's just not me. I wouldn't, if I woke up tomorrow when there was fucking 70 or 80 million in my bank, I wouldn't go out and I would obviously buy new clothes, treat myself to some nice clothes, but these boys go, oh, I'll buy a nice Ferrari at 200 grand, I'll buy a Rolex watch, a nice big house for £1 million, and no. No, I wouldn't do that. That's just me. But anyway, moving back to these guys here. This guy, Jake Paul's boxing match coming up with Tommy Fury. Any boxing fans out there, let me know what you think about this fight, because I'm going to certainly watch it and see. It's on. I think it's on the UK here. It's on BT Sport Box Office, I think, in the UK. It's in Saudi Arabia, the fight as well, for what I remember. It's going to be a late one, or is it going to be an early one, maybe? Depending obviously what time it is over there. But anyway, yes, this guy Tommy Fury has stated today that Jake Paul is leaving the fight in an ambulance. Now, he can be a little bit arrogant, Jake Paul. He did appear in WWE in Saudi Arabia there recently, and then he was on Logan Paul's podcast there recently as well. A lot of people don't like Jake. I'm personally not a fan of his. I think he's too egotistical and he's a wee bit of a balloon head, but that's just my opinion on it. Logan Paul, I think he's matured a lot over the last wee while, since obviously all those incidents that he was involved in. He's obviously became more of a businessman. But he's doing well for himself. I mean, that Prime drink is making him millions of dollars. Millions with this Prime drink. Obviously his podcast is doing really, really well too as well. And then obviously, and also, sorry, I forgot to mention, Prime is now one of the official drink sponsors or drink partners of the UFC, which he just signed a recent deal with there last week. Was it last week? I think it was, yeah. So that's splashed all over social media too. Photograph of him and Dana White together. So there you go. He's doing quite well for himself, but Jake's more into the boxing. So it should be an interesting fight. Let me know who you think's going to win. I'm not really fussed who wins, but I'm going to watch it anyway and see what the situation is, because Lewis will want to watch it too as well. So I think we might sit up and watch it. So we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe Mr. Paul will get himself knocked out. Unbelievable. Here, guys, remember I was talking to you for the last couple of weeks about this whole prices of things going up in price. I don't want to go back to these subjects again. Obviously, it sounds quite boring, but I was just reading the day there that the people who do the petrol and the diesel and stuff like that, how much profit these people are making because of our expenses. Like BP have come out and said that their targets have hit a new record. Wonder why? Because they're charging all this money for this, like, excruciating prices for petrol and diesel. I wonder why. Unbelievable. Just seen that this morning, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, all you football fans out there, now, I was going to talk about this on the Unleashed podcast on this week, but I'm going to talk about it now. It's been all over the news the last 24 hours or so that Manchester City have been found guilty. Have been found guilty for over 100, for what I'm reading here, it's over 100 breaches of financial fair play rule by the Premier League. I was watching the story last night when I was having my dinner. It says I'll read out the statement. It actually says here, which is interesting because a lot of Liverpool fans have been contacting me. The Premier League have charged Manchester City with more than 100 breaches of its financial fair play rule after a 4 years investigation. It has referred the club to an independent commission over alleged rule breakings between 2009, that's when Lewis was born, up to 2018. They have been all the different things. That's just a part of it there. But from when I was watching Sky Sports News last night, they were saying about even down to your man Roberto Mancini's contract. Apparently, they weren't stating everything that he was getting paid. All their financial paperwork wasn't fully submitted. And I was just watching the report there last night in Sky Sports News, what the possibilities of this could mean. Expulsion from the Premier League, deduction of points, a massive fine. Not that really Man City's going to really think of that there, because the guy even said last night himself in the report, if Man City say got a £50 million fine, like, that's pocket change to those guys. They have more money and sense because of their owners. Stripped of their titles, which means we would get 2 of their titles and I think United would get 1 of them, I think, as far as I remember. Yeah, it worked it out. Obviously they would be relegated from the Premier League, expelled from the Premier League. All the different scenarios, what would happen to them. And it's just like do you remember years ago when it happened to Rangers? About the whole finals, and they ended up being pushed down to the bottom league in Scottish football, and they had to work all the way back through all the divisions to get right back up to the top again. Queen's Park Rangers, they mentioned as well, they got a hit with a £50 million fine. 50 million to Queen's Park Rangers is a lot of money, and the club still to this day suffers because of it. But the fact that these people have now found City, we'll say, fully guilty of this since 2009, that's the year my son was born. Like, that's nearly 14 years ago. Because Lewis is 14 here in March. And that's how I know. 14 years ago. And this investigation's going on. Now, at the end of the day, as you all know, I'm a Liverpool fan. If it was Liverpool doing this, I would be disgusted with the club if it was true. But other clubs apparently have been investigated too. AC Milan's name was brought up. PSG's name was brought up in the conversation yesterday on the report that I was watching on the news, Sky Sports News yesterday. It's just an ongoing investigation. Now, what's going to happen out of this, I don't know. A lot of fans from different clubs have been voicing their opinion on social media. I've had people contact me yesterday as well about it all. My inbox and Instagram's going ballistic. If City stripped the titles, will it be given to the second place team, which means Liverpool finished second twice? They'll be given 2 more titles. What'll happen? We don't know. Are City guilty? Don't know, but the amount of money they've spent over the last 12 to 14 years is phenomenal. Even the fact that Roberto Mancini, when he won the title with City back in 2012, his contract was apparently they didn't state the full amount that he was getting paid. So you just don't know what is going on. Now, there's a whole big argument what exactly is going to come out of this. I mentioned that I heard them mention the sport of arbitration being involved as well, independent commission being brought in, all these different things going on. What's going to happen? I'm going to keep a close eye on it because I've had messages from Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans, even United supporters, Liverpool supporters, you name it, Tottenham supporters. What do you think? Big man's going to happen here? If the way I look at it is, if they're guilty and they're found guilty, they should be punished. That's why those financial fair play rules have been put into place, because it's all about fair play. Now, not every club in the Premier League have mega bucks like the Manchester Cities, or, obviously Liverpool have a bit of money, but we're not obviously splashing a bit of money at the minute. That's another discussion for another day. But the top clubs in the country, the likes of the Tottenhams and the Arsenals and the Liverpools, the Manchester Uniteds, the Chelseas especially, and then obviously the Cities, all the big owners have all this money. You know yourself, guys, money in football now is insane. But if City are breaching those rules, at the end of the day, the rules are rules. If you break the rules, you get punished. Now, I'll be honest with you, as I said you there a minute ago, if this was Liverpool under investigation and they were found guilty of this, as a long-time supporter, I wouldn't be a happy supporter, because obviously the club's now been put into jeopardy of possible, all those different scenarios like fines and relegations and expulsions from the Premier League and blah, 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 X, Y, and Z, whatever's going to happen. I'd be disappointed as a Liverpool supporter. Now, I've had a lot of people send me funny messages about this and saying, you should be laughing now because City have messed up. Yeah, you should be laughing, rubbing your hands together and all because you don't like City. Listen, see, at the end of the day, rules are rules. If you break the rules in whether it be sport, your job, anything at all, there's rules for certain things. Even the law, if you break the law, you get caught, you're found guilty, and there's enough evidence there against you, then you pay the price. Simple as. So if Manchester City have broke the rules and they've been caught doing it, and it is proven that they have done it, and no matter what the decision is going to be from the Premier League or wherever else organisation is going to be and stepped in there, then obviously City's going to have to pay the price. It's as simple as that. It's the same for any other club. Like I heard that name, as I said, either AC Milan's name is being mentioned, PSG's name is being mentioned. What's going to happen? And obviously they've done a boo-boo and they've messed up. Or maybe there's just a mix-up or whatever. I don't know. But I want to keep an eye on that story. I'm actually going to keep a really close eye on this one because it's going to be interesting over the next few days exactly what's going to happen here with this Manchester City situation. So we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, moving on. I'm not holding any hate against City because even though they're one of our biggest rivals now alongside Manchester United and all those boys, Everton too as well. So, yeah. Can't really comment much about Liverpool, to be honest, because they got friggin' tanked at the weekend by Wolves and our team's falling apart. And I'm back at Anfield on the 21st of February, and it's going to be unbelievable to watch. Hopefully we'll have some players back from injuries against Real Madrid, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we can get some type of result. Please. I'm hoping. Please, please, please. Fingers crossed. But it's Anfield, it's European night, it's under the lights. You never know. I'll be there cheering on the boys. So I will. Match day vlog coming up. Stay tuned. Right. Let's get on to some of your questions before I continue on with the podcast here today. Okay, let's get into the first email here of today. I've got an email here from Vivian. Hello, Vivian. How are you? Just wanted to know, hey, Matthew, I just wanted to say hello to you and say I enjoy listening to your podcast every week on Spotify. Keep up the good work. Also enjoy watching your videos on YouTube as well. So just thought you'd drop you an email today to talk about animals. Okay. I had a cockapoo dog by the name of George who unfortunately passed away just before Christmas at the age of 14. It was my best friend, my companion in life, and I just wanted to know, I know you had 2 cats at one stage and I saw them in your recent vlog from years ago, but would you ever consider bringing any other animals into your home? I miss my doggy so much every day. I miss our walks, our bonds, our friendships. I was considering getting another dog soon, but the heartache is too much. Thanks for taking your time. Sorry, I can't read today. Thanks for taking your time to read my email today. Take care, Vivian. Oh, Vivian, sorry to hear about your doggy passing away. Animals. Now, I'll tell you a story about animals. I always, growing up, mum and dad always had dogs and cats, and I had Budgie at one point, and we had goldfish and everything else. Some animals that I obviously grew up around was whenever I was, this is what I've been told, there's photographs and all to prove it, whenever I was a kid, in my cot and pram, whatever else, mum and dad had a big Alsatian dog called Sheila, which, funnily enough, is named after the dog they have today. You probably saw Sheila, mum and dad's doggy, in my vlogs quite a bit. She's a lovely wee dog, so she's a beautiful dog. She's a Patterdale dog. Beautiful, beautiful dog, so friendly. I actually saw her yesterday. Lovely wee thing. So friendly and cuddly and just loves it. Loves all the attention. Apparently that dog was very, very protective of me whenever I was in my cot as a baby, and also when I was in a pram or anywhere else, the dog was very protective of me. We also had another dog who lasted a long, long time. He was a mixed Jack Russell. We called him Badger. I'll tell you a funny story about that. We got him from a pet store in Belfast, which is no longer there, behind the back of Castle Court. There is a new complex there built called Smithfield, but years ago it used to be all like wee older type shops and stuff, and there was an old wee pet store right in the middle of that. And we went in that one day, and Mum had found the dog in obviously a wee cage with all the other wee puppies and stuff like that there, and it had a pure white body with a black head and a white stripe right down the middle, just looked like a badger. Now you're going to laugh when I tell you this story, Vivian. I remember it like it was yesterday. Tony, I think, was a couple of months old, maybe, in a pram. I think he was actually, yeah. And I remember being in the pet store that day, and there was a blind man. I know you're going to laugh at this. A blind man standing at the counter, and I remember turning to Mum and goes, "Oh, what'd you get today, love?" And she goes, "I got myself a wee half Jack Russell." "What's he look like?" "Oh, he's got a white body, a black hair with a white stripe down the middle." And she goes, "Well, why don't you call him Badger? That's what a badger looks like, don't they?" And Mum went, "Oh, okay." So we walked outside, and Dad was standing there with Tony and whatever it was, and we just thought about it and thought, yeah, Badger, what a name. So that was his name, and he lasted for a long time. I think it was 2002 or 2003 he passed away. Such a lovely dog, and Mum still has some pictures of him. He was such a great, great dog. He had a few accidents over the times. I mean, we lived in Belfast. He was chasing some lorry thing, and he got his paws caught in the back of it and got himself trailed up the road, and his whole tummy was all the fur of his tummy was taken away. So, but obviously whenever we got him fixed up and stuff like that after that, when we finally got him home, whatever, he ended up just, the fur never grew back under his tummy. So he had that. Then years later, when we moved to Bangor, he got the tip of his tail cut off as well. That had to be fixed up as well. He was just always, he wasn't nasty or nothing. He was just a lovable, friendly dog. But he used to go around with other dogs in the street and just get up to no good. And he wasn't a bad dog. Like, he was just a lovable, friendly dog, but he was just a typical dog. But God, yeah, I remember him well. He was a good dog. My experience as well of having dogs after moving out, Myself and Brooke and Lewis's mum had a wee dog, like a wee collie crossbreed we had, and we actually had him right up until Brooke was about to come along. Obviously, Brooke was in her mum's tummy at the time, pregnant, and it was one morning the mum got up to let the dog out the back for a pee, and the dog snuck out the back fence and ran away and never came back. And Brooke never got to meet him. And then, recent times, we just before we come on to YouTube, I went on to online one night to search for a dog for the kids, because the kids were crying for a long time. They wanted a dog, and I love Labradors, like chocolate labs. I think they're beautiful dogs, so smart dogs as well. So I found this Labrador from Newton Ards. So I went over with Dad to see the girl with the dog and stuff like that there, and I was basically led down the garden path, misled, told lies about this dog, which turned out to be an absolute nightmare. This dog I was told this dog was fully trained, house trained, walked every day. Nowadays with dogs, obviously they have their wee chips in the back of their neck, and obviously for their dog license and stuff, it had that, it had everything basically. It was just this wonderful dog. And whenever I got it home, the dog was exactly the opposite. The dog went ballistic, couldn't walk it on a lead, was never walked on a lead. Tried for a while to try and get it trained, wouldn't work. It slept in one of those dog cages in its own previous owner's house, and it had a wee bed and all. So I went out and got one of them and put a lovely big padded spongy bed and all into it for him, and treated it well, and put it in its wee cage one night and locked the door. And the girl who you probably saw in my old vlogs from years ago, a girlfriend of mine, Amber at the time, we went to a Northern Ireland game, and we came back into my house, and the dog had completely trashed my entire house. My whole kitchen was destroyed. Cupboard doors were pulled off. It pooed in the sink. It peed everywhere. It tore the vinyl floor off the floor. It damaged the door. It broke my kitchen table. It broke the chairs. It broke the cage that it was in. It almost put a hole in my back door. It cracked the window pane in my back door. It destroyed all the stuff in the cupboards. It just went ballistic. So this girl pretty much told me a load of lies to get rid of it. So I contacted the girl, and I said to her, like, listen, this dog, I can't control this dog. It's doing this, and this. And the response I got back from her was, tough S, I can't swear in this podcast, S, 1T, he's your problem now. And then she blocked me. So what I done was, because obviously animal cruelty was involved there, because she never treated the dog correctly, and then also a day after that he tried to attack Lewis, so I had to obviously get rid of him because he was being violent towards the dog, or towards the child, which was a horrible thing to see. I had to ring the animal people and ask for assistance and help, and they had to come out and help me and take him away and try and get him the help that he needed and stuff, because I didn't want, obviously, him being around two small children at the time. They obviously hurt the child. Especially when he was getting violent. Well, we were trying to calm him down and be nice to him and all, but he was just being too nasty. So I then reported that girl to the animal people, and I took her to court for damages. I took her to court for mis-selling animals online without permission, mis-selling information, and also took her for the damages to my kitchen. And the last time, don't know what's wrong with me there. The last time I heard, obviously not long after that, she'd moved away. So clearly this girl couldn't handle the dog. She fobbed it off to somebody else, and the dog, God, it wasn't the dog's fault. Obviously the dog didn't know any better. So we ended up with a completely damaged kitchen, which we ended up having to pay hundreds of pounds to get fixed. We ended up getting compensation out of the court, to get obviously reimbursed. As far as I'm aware, this person was prosecuted, I think, from what I remember hearing, by the animal people as well, and we ended up with a bad experience. So ever since that, we've had the two cats who you saw in the vlog as well. Chloe, the girl cat, we see all the time. She's in our garden quite regularly. She's decided just to be a bit of a free spirit. The boy cat, he ran off. I don't know where he went to. He just disappeared. He had a few incidents with people in the street as well. I rang the animal people about him. They asked for a bit of advice, and they said if cats have wild in them, you have to just let them be a free spirit, because obviously they're not going to be a home cat. They just want to be out all the time. But the girl cat Chloe, we see her quite regularly up and down the street all the time. She pops in so every so often to say hello, and she stays where she wants to stay. So I think, well, she did. She was starting to live with people down the bottom of the street, so we obviously let her go and live there. But she still comes up and sees us regularly and comes and says hello and whatever else. So, but at the moment we have no animals. We also had goldfish too as well, but Brooke and Lewis wasn't looking after it correctly, and again I ended up having to look after it. But I love animals. Don't get me wrong. I love dogs. I love wee cute dogs. I love cats. But again, after the bad experiences and all recently, no, I think I'm just going to stay with no animals in this house at the minute. But I'm really sorry to hear about your dog passing away. Really, really sad. To lose, obviously, because people do obviously get very attached to dogs. And it is like, as the old saying goes, it's man's best friend. And it's very, very sad to lose. It's like losing a family member, basically, at the end of the day, whenever you lose an animal. A cat, a dog, or whatever, because you do get quite attached to them. And again, they become your best friend, and whenever they pass on, it really does hurt you. So it does. But no, I'm very, very sorry to hear about your dog passing away there, Vivian, and thanks for your email. I do appreciate it. Sorry for going on a bit of a rant, but obviously I just wanted to tell you a bit of a story about my experience with dogs. But I do remember that day when we got that dog in Belfast. I think it was yesterday. I do remember standing in the pet store. I think I was about 9 or 10 at the time. I remember it very, very well. And that wee dog was Miss Love. Mum loved that dog, Badger. I was her best friend, and it broke her heart whenever he passed away. I actually remember the day I got the call that he passed away. I was actually standing outside the Odyssey or the SSE Arena in Belfast's ticket box office when I got the call from Mum saying that he had passed away, and I was with Brooke and Lewis's mum buying tickets for a show, and I remember getting the phone call and Mum crying down the phone. So sad. So it was really, really sad. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Animals can melt your heart, but they can also break your heart. Thanks for your question. I do appreciate it. Let's get on to another one here on the emails. Let's have a wee quick browse around here before here on the emails. Right, here's one here from David. David wants to know, hi Matthew, I was watching your vlog the other day where I saw you trying to drive Lewis's electric scooter. What do you think of electric scooters? What's your view on it? Do you think they should be taken off the roads? Do you think they're a dangerous thing to have? And what's your experience of driving the one you have? The one you've got for Lewis seems to be a very, very good, strong electric scooter. I know you can get bigger ones, but what's your experiences and what's your thoughts on electric scooters as a whole? Okay, well, the electric scooter I got Lewis for Christmas is obviously a very good one. It's an expensive one. I've used it to go to football training, which is great. I was actually on it the other day again. I nipped around the mums on it. It's handy. My view on it is, you get these ones that go out there and drive it around and act like a tit, basically, on it, and endanger drivers, endanger people and stuff like that, which I think's wrong. If you're smart about it and you drive it correctly and you don't speed on it like an absolute lunatic and you respect people around you on paths or roads or whatever it is, or cycle lanes, wherever you're driving that electric scooter in, then that's fine. Again, a lot of people don't like them. There's big ones they have over in Liverpool, which I think are amazing. They're so fast, but the one I got Lewis is great. It does it up to about maybe 17 to 20 mile an hour. It's quick. Obviously it's a good wee thing to have, but again, I just look at it as, if you're careful about it and you're smart and you drive carefully with it and you don't get in anybody's way, then fine. But you do get these young ones who are flying up and down the road and have no consideration, don't care, driving around like an absolute lunatic. And, that in that case, then they don't deserve to be driving one. My experience on it, it's fun. It's different. I send the Lewis there, maybe getting myself one for the summertime so we can drive them around the coast and stuff. Obviously, you can get a bigger one. But, no, I think they're fun. They're handy, especially if you want to just nip around the mum and dad's house for 5 minutes, running around the corner, or you need to nip over to the doctor's surgery or something, or you need to nip down to the shop or whatever. It's a nippy wee thing to have, and they're handy. And, especially with us not having a car at the minute, if I need to go around the mum and dad's, then I can. But no, they're not bad. But I would have a mixed view on them. If you drive safely with them and stay out of people's way and don't drive like a lunatic, then that's fine. But if you're driving up and down the roads like some of them do, then obviously it's going to get in people's way and you're going to piss people off and they're not going to be happy about it. So, But my experience on it so far, it's been fun. And I'm going to be using it tonight, actually, to go on down to get the train to go to football training tonight. It's got a couple of interviews to do tonight too as well at football training. So yeah, it's not bad. It's all right. So it is. It's okay. Right, let's get on to another one here. Right, I've one here. Let's have a look. Oh God, quite a lot of you regulars who email me quite a lot. And I'm trying to weed out people who I haven't answered. There's a couple of ones on Instagram too as well who constantly email me all the time. So they do. Oh, I don't know. Right, let's get into one here. Right, okay, I have one here from Lucas, Lukas. Lucas Mitchell. That's who it is. Lucas Mitchell wants to know, hi Matthew. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to yourself and your family. Love all your content as always. Keep up the good work. My wee quick question to you is, I see in some of your vlogs you have some interesting pictures on your wall in your living room. Could you please tell us a bit more story into them? I see you have an artwork on the wall as well of a cow. Yeah, well, it's a do, and I love it. It was given to me 2 Christmases ago. And also other pictures of Brick and Lewis, etc. on your walls. Also, I would like to hear your views on Liverpool's season so far. I don't even want to talk about Liverpool, Lucas, to be honest with you, because Liverpool are doing crap at the minute. But yes, to answer your questions, on my current wall at the minute, which are going to be currently changing here in a few weeks, I have a picture of a cow, which is an art piece. It was given to me by my ex-girlfriend Sandra, which I loved. Also, I have a map of the world in a picture frame that was given to me by her as well, because I've always wanted to have a frame picture of the world, obviously, to have on my wall. I also have a massive clock, which is lovely. A picture that was bought into me by an old friend from years ago. I also have pictures of myself, Brick and Lewis, at the day of the statue being unveiled at Anfield a couple of years ago, outside the Liverpool store. I've also got a couple of wee art pieces that I done on my Photoshop of Brick and Lewis as well. I've also got them little square slate sort of picture tiles of some photographs I took of the day. Remember the vlog I done a few years ago of the photo shoot at Mum and Dad's back garden, where there was Mum and Dad, and then there was Mum with the 2 kids, Dad with the 2 kids, and then I took one of the kids in Castle Park with the lovely autumn setting with the leaves and all behind those. A couple of early pictures of Brick and Lewis and stuff like that there as well, and a few wee odds and ends as well. That's pretty much what I have on my wall at the minute, but I am going to be changing it all because the living room's getting it's just been painted last week before, repainted again, so I'm waiting for a new floor to get put in. I've got new blinds to put in, and I'm going to put in new light shades, and I'm also going to be getting a new sofa. So there you go. So I hope that answers your question. I'm not going to talk about Liverpool, Lucas, because Liverpool are playing crap at the minute. So they're playing absolutely crap, and I can't be bothered talking about them. That's just being honest. I feel like crying the way we are going at the minute, so I do. I really, really do. Okay, let's get into an Instagram message. Right, let's have a look here. Instagram. One here from Wayne. Let's open it up here. Wayne wants to know, hi Matthew, just wanted to ask you a quick question about shoes. Okay. He goes on to write here, he says, I just wanted to know what your favourite type of shoe is. What favourite brand of shoe do you like to go to, and what do you think is the most comfortable shoe? Me personally, I've started wearing New Balance shoes. I was a big fan of Adidas growing up. Then I went to Nike for a little while, but I found New Balance shoes are quite comfortable these days. What is your view on trainers? What is your go-to shoe? Okay, well, there you go. Well, I have a few different pairs of shoes that I would wear. I have a pair of black Liverpool New Balance shoes. I've got a pair of white Liverpool New Balance shoes. I've got a pair of £150 Champions League winner New Balance shoes, but I've only ever worn the Anfield once. I have a pair of white Nike trainers. I have a pair of original Puma King trainers, which I don't wear very, very often. That's right, Puma King trainers. The one with the big tongue on the front and all. Yeah, classics. They're like AstroTurf type shoes, but you can use them for like football and stuff like that. Good shoes. I also have, let me think, a couple of pairs of Nike shoes. I've got 3 pairs of Adidas shoes. But what my go-to pair of shoes would be, I do like New Balance myself as well. They are quite a comfortable shoe. Ever since Liverpool went to New Balance, I bought a couple of pair of New Balance shoes. I bought the kids New Balance trainers as well. and they are actually quite comfortable. I wouldn't say no to another new pair of New Balance shoes. Now, in saying that, there obviously you've got the likes of your Adidas, which obviously I grew up in my early 20s, the teens, early 20s. Adidas shoes were quite comfortable. Nike, touch and go. Lewis loves his Nike shoes because obviously he's had a pair of Jordans, which he's now grew out of. I've always wanted a pair of Jordan 1s, or I think they're Air Jordan 1s. I've liked those shoes. I've had my eyes on those for a while. I think they're about 150 quid a pair or something like that, maybe more. Not that I really want to be for a sale or something. That type of money for a pair of shoes is insane. But yeah, I do like a good pair of New Balance. But I do like I'm more of a trainer type guy wearing shoes, and obviously I have a couple of yard shoes, and then I would wear dressy shoes to the likes of a night out or a wedding or a funeral or whatever else. But then if I'm going out just casually for a meal or something like that, if I had a pair of Bernie type shoes, I would wear them. But my go-to trainer would probably at the minute would be either New Balance or Adidas because they are quite comfortable. And that's just me giving my opinion on it. But New Balance are good shoes and they are comfortable, so I can't complain. So there you go. Thanks for your question. One more question before I go on, because I have been babbling on quite a bit here today, guys. Right, let's go through Instagram. Message requests. Let's have a look and see. Gee whiz, God almighty. See the amount of questions about Manchester City? It's unbelievable. Manchester City. Guardiola, is he going to get sacked? One of them actually, I remember reading one of them last night. One of them turned and said, do you think they'll sack the manager as well if they have to get... Or do you think he'll leave if they get relegated from the Premier League? Oh, I don't know. I'm telling you, football, it's crazy. Right, here's another one here. Oh, another person with a name W. Walter, where are you from? It doesn't even say where you're from. Well, anyway, Walter. Hello, Walter. How are you? Hi, Matthew. Just a quick question for your podcast this week. What is your view on gardening? Do you like to do any type of gardening? I've saw a couple of your vlogs over the years where I saw you cutting grass, and recently over lockdown putting in some plants, etc. At the bottom of your back garden. What is your view on gardening? Do you enjoy gardening? Me personally, I love gardening. I am a gardener by trade, but I also love doing a bit of gardening as well. I find it very therapeutic. What is your thoughts on that? Okay, Walter. I actually don't mind gardening. I find when you're cutting grass or, weeding out weeds or whatever else, or tidying up a garden, again, as you say, it's therapeutic. I switch off from the world. I put it when I'm cutting grass in my petrol no more. I stick on my earphones and away I go. Or if Lewis and I are doing it, we make it a bit of fun because we'll have jokes and laugh and tell jokes and make a bit of fun out of it. I don't mind gardening. Obviously, there's people out there who are really into their garden. I mean, I met a girl a couple of years ago, who I'm still friends with on my personal Facebook. Maeve, you call her. She she's really into her garden and all her flowers and stuff. She posts some beautiful pictures on Facebook sometimes of her garden, all the stuff that she grows and all her flowers and things like that there. She is really into her gardening. My dad loves his garden too, so he does. He loves doing wee things for his garden. I mean, if you look at my dad's garden in the vlogs, you see different things that he's created in his garden, things that he's built in his garden. He just loves doing different things. As you all know, by watching my vlogs, I've obviously, during lockdown there, got a big giant deck I built at the top of my garden so we can have barbecues on it and have family time on it, and just sit and then have time on there. I mean, we were there last summer with barbecues and just general days on it. So yeah, I don't mind a bit of gardening, Walter, to be honest with you. I find it quite relaxing sometimes, especially when you've had a stressful week and you want to just go out and sort of like take an hour or so out of your life to go and just switch off and put the earphones in, listen to a bit of radio or something, or a bit of music or whatever. Or if I'm doing it with Lewis, which we normally do sometimes, me and him would just sit and joke and laugh and have a bit of banter, basically. So yeah, I don't mind a bit of gardening. I'm not really into gardening like some people are, but I find it quite enjoying. I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me at all. But thanks for your question. I do appreciate it. Right, I'm going to go again, guys, because I got to go and get ready here for the rest of my day. Got to get this podcast put out today as well. I'm hoping to get another podcast recorded maybe tomorrow, but if not, then Unleashed version will be back on Thursday. I did say in the vlog on today at the start of this one, I'm hoping to get 3 podcasts done this week. So it'll probably either be, if not tomorrow, but definitely back on Thursday as normal for the Unleashed version. Then I'm thinking maybe Sunday for the next one, because obviously with Thursday, as you all know, guys. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I'm still doing my walking, by the way. A lot of you have been saying, oh, you haven't been posting any more videos when you're walking. I'm still doing my walking. So I am, and I'm doing alright. My cheat days are on Thursday. As you all say to you, I always tell you, on Thursday I always have a wee night to myself where I have my dinner and I have a couple of beers and I switch off from the world, and I don't go on social media or nothing. I just sit and listen to the music on the radio or put on some music. I just sit and chill out and have a couple of beers with Tony sometimes if he comes round. Whatever else. I'm actually considering maybe heading out this Thursday night. There's a place in Bangor that does a thing on a Thursday night. It's like a big night out where you can win prizes by playing bingo and different games and stuff like that there. And they've got entertainment and all on as well in Bangor. The Goats 2 every Thursday night. So I'm actually considering heading down there this Thursday night, regardless Tony there or not. I might just take myself down just to get out of the house for an hour and get my head showered from Brooke and Lewis too as well. So yeah, I'll not be doing a podcast. We'll obviously do the podcast before I do anything on Thursday. But I'm thinking maybe if I don't get one done tomorrow, I'll do another unleashed version on Sunday. So stay tuned to social media. I'll keep you updated on that, guys, as well. So well. But anyway, yes, I'm going to go here now. So I hope you have all had a good weekend past. I've had a great last couple of days, guys, and thank you for all your messages. I do appreciate it. It's been a great couple of days. It's been busy, but now this busy period's starting to fade out now. I'm going to have more time, I said in the vlog last night as well when I was recording the last scene, and I'm going to have more time to put more vlogs back out again and get regular vlogging again, because I need to get back out vlogging again because people are sitting there missing the videos. So I have to try and get it all balanced out. But it's been a busy few months, but it's been rewarding, trust me. It has been, believe me. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go now till the next podcast, but it's more likely to be Thursday. But if I am going to drop one tomorrow again, I'll let you know. So, well, because I got to go tonight and do some interviews of football and on the recap of Big Irish Cup win at the weekend there as well. So it's going to be an interesting night of football. Can't wait. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this vlog, if you enjoyed this podcast today, if you're listening to us on YouTube, please like and subscribe if you've tuned in today to listen to us here on the Mirror Army podcast. Also, don't forget to check out the Mirror Army website, mirrorarmy.co.uk, for all the updates and also the merch, etc., etc. Check out the social media feeds for all your Instagram posts, Facebook posts, vlogs, etc., etc. And if you want to send me any questions for the next podcast, mirrorarmypodcast@yahoo.com. Right, I'm going to go. So enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Maybe back tomorrow, but if not, I'll be back on Thursday, and then Sunday will be another one too as well. So until the next podcast, I can't speak. Thanks for taking your time to listen to me today, guys. Do appreciate it. And until the next one, I'll see you all down the road, guys. Thanks for listening.